Hello there, my name is Thomas O'Regan and I have an 11 property portfolio. Me and my wife have built it over the last 3.5 years. My property portfolio consists of investment grade properties, but today what I wanted to tell you guys about is one of the best opportunities to get a home or to get an investment for people that are not looking to be investors. Now it's 2025 in Australia. It's halfway through October, and the Australian government has come up with a scheme which is effectively called the First Home Owners Scheme, where they will let you or they will partner up with a bank, allowing you to buy a property with a 5% deposit. And you don't have to pay stamp duty, which can be a huge cost for anyone looking to purchase a property. Why is this so great? Effectively, what it means is you can buy a property up to say $1 million with a 5% deposit. Obviously, there's a little bit more costs involved, like closing costs, things like that. You've got to pay conveyancing, but pretty much you can buy $1 million property with a 5% deposit, which means $50,000. Now, if you can scrounge together or if you can borrow $50,000 off someone, definitely do it. And I'm not talking to people who are looking to be investors here. I'm just talking to everyone and anyone. Anyone and everyone should look at buying a property. If it's not an investment property, then a home to live in. But effectively, if you're able to get together $50,000 to buy a property that's worth $1 million that you're either going to live in or live in and then eventually rent out, you will be acquiring yourself an asset that will probably double every 7 to 10 years, as most of the properties do in Australia. Hey, and I'm not saying every property in Australia doubles every 7 to 10 years. I'm just saying if you buy a property, there's a very good chance here in Australia, if it's in a good location, that it will double every 7 to 10 years. And what does that translate to in terms of buying $1 million property? Okay, so that translates into a compounding annual growth rate of 70,000. Like, let's call it's the property's growing 77% per year. That would mean it's growing by $70,000 in the first year. So think of this, right? You use $50,000 to buy a property, then you own it forever. You don't want to be an investor, but seriously consider just buying a property through this scheme, because most people in Australia earn, somewhere around $70,000 a year, and they have to work to earn that money. So if you're not an investor, but you don't want to do investments, at least buy yourself a home with this scheme, because $70,000 a year you'll get in compounding growth rate. And if you own it as your own home, when you sell it, if you ever do, you won't have to pay tax on it. And if you're renting now and you're not an investor, that money is dead money. Let me be completely clear here. I'm a renter as well, and I own investment properties, but that is because I get a better return on investment properties than I do in my personal place of residence, because I invest a lot of my time trying to figure out how to make a lot of money in property. But if you're not interested in trying to figure out how to make a lot of money in property, just buy the one property, because you're very likely to get a growth rate that is somewhere around 7% per year. In the first year, you'll get 70 grand, and you've only put in 50 grand to acquire the asset. And obviously you'll have to pay for the mortgage, but it could be it might be a little bit more than what you're paying in rent already. Okay. But the difference is you'll just pay it onto the mortgage to own a property outright eventually that is growing by 7% a year for the rest of the time that you own it. So, guys, seriously, get a property, buy a property. If you haven't got a property yet, get in the game. $50,000. Get your hands on it, save it, do whatever you have to do. It's not that much money in the scheme of things. It's 2 years of saving. Let's go.